KSI's YouTube group, the Sidemen.
Right.
So I created their fried chicken brand Sides in the UK. I was in a kitchen in London Bridge. We were prepping for the tasting. And then JJ just walked straight through the door of the kitchen, not thinking where he was going. And he was like, am I in the right place? I was like, kind of, like it's next door. And I presented what we called the XIX box. So XX is their brand name. But obviously, as a very new food consultant, I hadn't gone and had something pre-produced packaging-wise. It was a shoebox with some Sidemen stickers on. None of them had a clue what the hell was going on because they're so used to such high-level production and stuff.
Right.
And I turned up just with a burger and some fries and a drink and a side in a shoebox. Turns out we ended up launching that whole concept. But it was super embarrassing presenting to, these super famous YouTubers and shoebox.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Ways to Wealth. Today I'm joined by Dec. Dec, why don't you give us the TLDR of who you are and what you get up to?
So my name's Dec Penfold. I work as a chef and restaurant consultant. I also have quite a few hats in that I have a business here in New Zealand called Mr. Beast Burger, which is the big global brand that we brought over here. And then I also sort of have a virtual brand type business as well here in New Zealand. So quite a few different things that's going on. The main part of what I do is my consultancy.
Yeah.
So my background is as a chef. Yeah. So from 14, I was working in kitchens, washing pots in a Thai restaurant in North Wales, of all places back in the UK. And then every job I had, sort of every summer job, was always in a kitchen. It would have been stretching pizza or working in a pub, like on the fry section, like just everything I wanted to do was in a kitchen.
Right.
All my friends would work, collecting glasses and waiting tables, and I'd be back in the kitchen. It's something I just really loved.
Yeah.
My family don't have a background in food or anything. It was just something I sort of fell into. And then, every job I had throughout my childhood was always food-based. My mum's a great cook. I sort of see her as my long-term sous chef is kind of how we call it in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But the drive for me was just always that thrill and buzz of being in a kitchen. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. So the busier the better for me, especially when I was young and
because it's hard work.
It's really hard work. Yeah. And I appreciate it more now, not working in the kitchens regularly. Yeah. When I do step back in, the sort of the pressure it puts on your body, the stress it can cause from a family perspective as well. Yeah. I was working in kitchens that didn't have kids and a mortgage. Yeah. Now I do. It's very different, that juggling act of everything. But every job I have is in a kitchen. I went to university to study media. Not really what I sort of fell into. Yeah. Didn't know what I wanted to do. I went to uni to play rugby and have a good time. Yeah. Back in the UK, and then again was working in restaurants and kitchens, and then fell into sort of wanting to go to France to do a ski season and work in a hotel there or work in a villa, and ended up going as a very underqualified sous chef into this hotel, and the head chef never arrived. So I was in France in a hotel thinking I was going to get to snowboard every day, which I love doing, actually running a French kitchen in a hotel full of guests the whole season. So real throw me into the deep end situation. So did that for about 9 months. I think I was in France, having to order food in French and go to all the French supermarkets, or all the French wholesalers, and understand that. It was pretty eye-opening for someone who doesn't speak French.
So you just were the de facto head chef?
Yeah, they didn't really have a choice. And I was like, great, I may as well just run with this, And it worked really well. The restaurant was super busy because we had a full hotel all the time. Yeah. But the other restaurant in the valley there, so we were in Latanya, the best restaurant there on TripAdvisor and Google and stuff like that, was a 1 Michelin star restaurant. Right. And we were number 2. Right. Which is super cool, And I'm not a Michelin cook. I've worked in fine dining, I've worked in some good restaurants, but I've never worked at that sort of level. So for me, that was a real nice buzz as a 22-year-old, I think I was. So I came back to the UK after that, and went straight to London, and ended up weirdly working for Stonegate Pub Group, which is a massive pub group in the UK. Okay. And then ended up running one of their kitchens in the O2. So I went from a small sort of French hotel kitchen to a 2-storey kitchen in the other two, serving thousands of people a day.
So different,
completely different vibe. Different quality of food as well, but like amazingly eye-opening experience for like, from quality to volume. And how you can get that balance and consistency. And then moved into working in a hotel in Sonning near Reading, and then that ended up becoming Copper Club, which is now I think they're an 8 or 9 site chain in the UK, and I opened the first 5 of those. And that was as a sous chef into being a head chef, and then an opening chef and operation chef for them.
Right.
This is all before I'm like 26, 27. And then that sort of burns you out, that those sort of hours, like the time away from family, missed events, all of those sorts of things. It was all driven around work, and I loved it. I really did love it. The bank balance doesn't look as good as you think when you're working that hard, unfortunately. But and it's not that wasn't the driving factor for me, but it was more the burnout. It was more like the intensity that I had to work at, and what I was missing elsewhere. And then I transitioned into working in supply chain, just to sort of take a pay rise, but sort of pressure job decrease. I was in a van driving around London, dealing with 120 of the best restaurants in London, serving high quality produce to them, walking in the back door of 2-3-star Michelin restaurants, which for me was like a dream, and sales is not like something I've always wanted to do, but because it was so relatable to what I was doing, I loved it. I was going and selling like the best, girolles to these 2-3-star Michelin restaurants, and understanding how they would use them and stuff. And I could sit at the chef's table and talk to them properly about produce and what they do. So that was super cool. But it wasn't quite what I wanted to do.
Right.
And then I got an opportunity to go and be a development chef.
Okay.
So I was headhunted by Deliveroo.
Right.
So obviously just acquired by DoorDash. They had a sort of special projects team where I was able to go in and sort of create whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
So our sole focus was around delivery, obviously. And I was there developing anything from fried chicken and burgers, which is a lot of what I do now with clients, all the way through to like Indian food, Chinese, pizza, Vietnamese. And then we also see how we could sort of cross-utilize those ingredients and cross-utilize those kitchens. So we launched a fried chicken brand out of 2 Chinese restaurants.
Right.
Stuff like that, being able to add this virtual brand, this additional.
How does that work, like operationally? Like you think of people that think about Deliveroo are like, oh well, it's an app that you can order food from, but under the hood, there's obviously these large organizations with R&D, and you're a part of that. And
yes,
like, is it like a joint venture model where you got to work with a restaurant? And like, how does that something like?
So
that?
When I was there, it doesn't. The team itself now doesn't exist. The sole focus has been around volume of restaurants, and it's full of account managers and BDMs, and the special projects team's goal was to see how they could create additional revenue streams and make restaurants more profitable and stop the churn of restaurants on platforms that weren't succeeding. So you've got a burger restaurant, it's doing okay, but it's not keeping the lights on as you want. We were then creating these brands that we could put into your kitchen for super low cost, super easy cross-compatible equipment, ingredients, mainstream supply chain.
So it's like lateralization of revenue for them.
Yeah, it's what we called like sweating your asset was the main term. So your kitchen is fully utilized all day, all hours of the day. Say if you're quiet in your own core brand, but you're busy on delivery for this other brand that you have, you're still bringing money in the door. It's still revenue. It's additional revenue, but you're not spending more money on labor. You're not spending more money on rent.
Right.
We would give you all the branding and the concept.
Yeah. Did they have to like pay, or was it?
Yeah, there was an onboarding fee.
An onboarding fee, and then
that just covered training, the initial packaging that we would supply, and then the rest of it would be a commission based. Basically.
Yeah, and you guys would get a royalty.
Yeah. So at the start,
they could procure their own goods.
So we supplied that as well.
Oh, you did.
So we had a whole procurement team that built.
And that's better. And that was
much better. We've got the buying power of Deliveroo versus John's Burger Shop.
Yeah.
So we were able to support restaurants in multiple ways,
right?
And that was really interesting. And I got to do so much stuff. Like, we launched restaurants. We launched these virtual brands in Dubai, in Australia, all over the UK, in France. We were able to jump into what Deliveroo had then was Deliveroo Editions. So they had their own big kitchens, these big ghost kitchens, with 10, 15 kitchens in them, different businesses operating.
Yeah.
And we utilize those kitchens because they were existing customers of Deliveroo. They were paying, at least 2 Deliveroo Editions.
Yeah.
And we were that additional support to them. And it worked really, really well.
It was working?
Yeah, it was working. We were super busy when COVID hit because everyone wanted to do delivery. So, but that was the stage when Deliveroo was going for their IPO, cutting teams, changing things. And my role as what I love doing sort of transitioned into more account management of these brands. And it wasn't quite what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then that's when we made the decision that we were going to move to New Zealand.
Right.
So I was sort of at the end of my time at Deliveroo, knew I was going to leave and thought, I'll just
rouse the time.
I'll give it a go in consulting. I had a little opportunity to do something with a guy who sort of gave me 2 or 3 chances as well, like with different projects, which is awesome. A guy called Dom Coolslatigue, who was the founder of Street Feast in the UK.
Right.
And I worked with him on a few different projects. And it was like, cool, this consulting's pretty good.
So you're kind of you're like innovating within a restaurant, like basically working on the menu mainly, or
a combination of different things. I think this is my problem. I don't really have a niche as a consultant, but I do anything with businesses from full sort of menu and like concept creation, not the brand side, but all the food side. So anything like from R&D all the way through to like the recipe development, like actual menu structure, pricing, all the operational processes, and then the implementation and launch as well, and then obviously ongoing support.
Yeah.
So lots of different things. As well, like food tech comes into play. Like my awareness of what's going on in the market is quite broad because I need to know what suits what business.
Yeah.
But I'd say my bread and butter is that sort of menu creation, is that recipe development. That's what I enjoy the most.
Yeah.
And I get to do it a lot with clients at the moment, but there are times when it's pure operations focus, it's training assets in SOPs, it's sort of systems and kitchen flow and efficiencies. And they're good. They're always helpful. And for me, coming as an outsider, I tend to give a fresh perspective on things to people.
Yeah.
But yeah, my clients range from sort of small independents that are looking to add another brand to their existing kitchen as a virtual brand still.
As a virtual brand.
Yeah,
that's
still
quite popular.
Super popular still, yeah. A lot of my clients are in the UK.
Okay.
Dubai. Yeah, so I still work with
that's beautiful.
mostly UK clients.
Yeah.
For my consultancy anyway. And then I, recently just launched a pasta restaurant down in Wanaka for a client.
And that was as a consultant?
That's as a consultant, yeah. So they engaged with me and another consultant who I work with on quite a few projects called Stuart Robertson. He does more of the business aspect.
Yeah.
He's called Me Business. And I sort of do the development stuff. So we've collabed quite a few times
on specifically hospitality
projects where he comes in with the more financial operations brain. And I come in with the creativity. So he's been a great asset for me here to sort of grow my business and brand here.
Yeah.
But yeah, still very UK focused. One of the big brands.
Well, that's great. You get to earn in pounds.
It does help. Yeah, it does help. But it's long hours. It's late night calls.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure on the family and stuff because I literally go out to my office in the garden. I've got a cabin in the garden, and I can separate myself from the house of potentially crying kids, but it just means I can really focus on those UK clients between sort of 9 and 12 UK mornings. That's obviously like 1 a.m. finishes here.
Yeah.
So I try not to do it every night, but I'm a bit of a sucker for just saying yes. It's another client call, it's another opportunity, it's another thing to.
And what's the model there? Is it hourly or is it project based?
Combination. So I have through two projects at the moment, and then 2 retainers.
Yeah, right.
So, and those projects sometimes verge into retainers.
Yeah.
So my longest standing retainer is a client called Sides, So it's KSI's YouTube group, the Sidemen. Right. So I created their fried chicken brand Sides in the UK.
Right.
So they had 5 restaurants.
Yeah.
It was originally a virtual brand. We had 100 sites.
Yeah.
A virtual kitchen.
Right.
So I created that back in 2021.
With KSI?
Yeah.
Oh, hilarious.
Yeah. So I've met Simon a couple of times, but it was a very strange interaction meeting.
Yeah.
I was in a kitchen in London Bridge in London, and we were prepping for the tasting, and then JJ just walked straight through the door of the kitchen, not thinking where he was going. And I've never met before. Like, obviously I knew who he was. And he was like, am I in the right place? I was like, kind of, like, it's next door, like, we'll bring the food through soon. And then we did a whole presentation of all of the dishes and stuff. And it was a lot more refined back then. It's now a lot more QSR focused.
Right.
But I remember really well when I presented what we called like the XIX box. So XX is their brand name. And it was meant to be like this combo, this big box with multiple things in.
Yeah.
It would look really cool. But obviously, as a very new food consultant, I hadn't gone and had something pre-produced packaging-wise. It was a shoebox with some Sidemen stickers on.
Wow.
And none of them had a clue what the hell was going on because they're so used to such high-level production and stuff.
Right.
And I turned up just with a burger and some fries and a drink and a side in a shoebox, with like a cutout to make it look nice.
Yeah.
Turns out we ended up launching that whole concept and that idea.
And that went really...
But it was super embarrassing presenting to, these super famous YouTubers and Shoebox.
How did you find that gig?
I was reached out to by their management team. I've been super lucky over the years I've sort of built a good network, I feel.
Yeah.
Like I have less so sort of the last 6 months, but had a really good presence on LinkedIn to be able to see people people be made aware of what I do.
Yeah.
A lot of my business is through word of mouth.
Yeah.
Like recently I spoke to a client who is now a client. I was pitching to them, and the first few words was like, seems like you're a bit of a well-known person in this space.
Oh, okay.
Like, you don't hear that very often.
Yeah.
It was quite like humbling. I like screenshotted the transcript and sent it to my partner. But it's sort of, I'm lucky that just the word of mouth of what I do and who I've worked for continues to bring business in.
Yeah.
And I have a good network and a very close-knit group of people in the industry that will offer me opportunities. They'll offer me, hey, I've got this, I want to do this. And I need you as the creative,
Yeah, and are they are they kind of into, like, I guess, patron equity in a sense of, like, the pay structure being based on success? Have you ever played with that model?
Combination, yeah. I've tried a few things around equity, and I'm working on at the moment. For me, I tend to like a longer-term retainer with clients, right? More established clients. They tend to start with a project fee that transitions into a retainer. Yeah. And I've been pretty consistent at being able to convert that as well.
Yeah.
But the equity-based
comp,
it's hard because, and I've done it a few times and it's not necessarily worked out.
Yeah.
Purely because your drive to do it is, I feel, not as strong as if you're being paid by someone, if that makes sense. Unless you really believe in the outcome.
Yeah.
And it's not that I didn't believe in those outcomes. I did. I put a lot into things.
Yeah.
But it's something I'm working on at the moment. But like for me, just what I'm then putting into an equity-based opportunity is deriving from my already paying existing clients. Mm. And to me, that's the priority. It's like getting paid, right?
Yeah,
sure. But there's a couple of things that I'm working on at the moment. And then if you kind of bring it all forward to what I'm doing now with Mr. Beast Burger,
right?
That's very much more,
it's not equity based.
Well, it's I do, and I'm not taking a salary out of business. It's like it's a real passion project for me, but it takes a lot of time, and it's so juggling.
You're investing the human capital.
I am, but I love it. I love what we're doing, and it's been super interesting. And it's also been a new sort of tangent for me in the fact that it's we have a physical restaurant, it's a pop-up, but and we have a food truck. So there's two different things that I didn't own those things before. I've always worked in them. I've always worked for them. In them. but not sort of, had that ownership and equity in a business.
Well, it's quite cool. It seems like, you've now got yourself to a stage where you've got these like interesting equity streams. I think your consulting business is, I always think about what you can bring in from your salary, whether it be consulting or if you're employed, it has a multiple on it. So like if you're getting paid, let's say $100,000 a year, it's probably worth maybe, with some confidence, you could say, I can maintain that for another 2 years. I've got certainty over the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So then it's probably worth twice what you're getting paid a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think of like your salary as an asset.
Yeah.
But then obviously now you've got this Mr. Beast burger asset, and then there was the other one as well. So there's like 3 prongs.
Yeah.
And it's quite nice when you start to get...
You can't all do all of them at the same time.
No.
But that third one is more... We hold the rights to multiple brands here in New Zealand that we can franchise. So... But like that's that's parked until you get some capacity. Yeah,
and that's actually quite interesting and you're really aware of it because your business is so time heavy. Like the culture in the industry is to put in really long hours and stuff.
Yes,
and we've been talking about a lot lately about like the constraints on businesses and how most traditional, especially tech businesses or something like that, will go, oh well, I'm. All I need is more capital. I'm really capital constrained.
Yeah.
And then we're starting to think about capital, especially in this new world of AI, of like being 3 primary areas: human capital, computational capital, and capital.
Yeah.
But you seem really aware of the human capital constraint side. And we have also been feeling that. We're like, sometimes we go, oh, well, maybe our human capital is slightly underutilized right now, or parts of the team are underutilized, but other parts are actually redlining.
Yeah.
Where they're actually probably putting in 140% capacity of their...
Which is how I feel at the moment.
Yeah.
All the time.
Which is really difficult, right? Like, because that can't be... You can only redline that so much.
Yes. Yeah.
And it becomes a bit of a real constraint.
It does. And I think I've been on the cusp of that for a long time, and also exceeding that red line a lot recently. And for me as a consultancy, I'd say one of my bigger ambitions is to build a bigger consultancy that's, in an ideal world, 10 of me, But what I've struggled to find, and I have a chef that I work with in the UK for projects that I'm not on the ground for. So I go back to the UK twice a year, sometimes more. And I do sort of decent stints in there to service the clients that I have.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's just, I can't get there. I have to have a physical person that's an extension of me.
Yeah.
A chef I've worked with we worked in restaurants since we were 24, 25 together. So I've known him for over a decade.
Yeah.
And he understands how I work, and he's worked for my business since the conception.
Yeah.
So that's great. But he's great at certain things that I'm not at. Yeah. But the things that I need are the thing. I need the duplication of me. I need 2 or 3 to be able to grow.
A bit of scale.
Yeah, and I think I've struggled to find that to be able to grow, because then I can take on more. Right, I can take on more projects and not have to worry about the admin element of a business and the proposal structures and the client management and the project management of each item as well. I can purely focus on the stuff that I love doing, which is the creative part, which is the operational part, And because there's a lot of work to it, and there's not too many systems that kind of can replace some of the stuff that I do. Like one thing I saw recently on LinkedIn was someone put into ChatGPT, like, when will my role, what you know about me, when will my role be replaced by AI? And it said, like, I think it was a sales-based role, and it's like, you'll be replaced before 2030. It's like super blunt and honest about it. And I did it for myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I said the same thing. I was like, of what when am I going to get replaced? And it sort of gave me a much more detailed breakdown of what I saw on the LinkedIn video. But it was, my creativity is hard to replace, like those physical aspects of things that I do, the operational side of the launch, the flexibility of when an ingredient doesn't turn up, what do you do? AI can't replace that.
No.
The pivoting and
it's how do you leverage yourself is the question, right?
Yeah.
And leverage the high value stuff that you're doing.
And also, how can I use AI
system
and all those new systems to sort of benefit me in what I do, whether that's building SOPs, whether it's the kitchen efficiency piece. And I do elements of that.
Do you bring like an operating system of such in your in your industry to these brands, you know. And I guess, you know, you were talking earlier about how you like to be in control and you like to make sure that the standard is met. It's like, I guess could also be like working out, like you say, those offloading points where you know with high certainty that you can get the quality in that area with a different solution that isn't cloning yourself.
Yes.
And the kind of interesting thought experiment is like, okay, how do I get 3 times my units of output with myself and expenditure of X, right? Like, can I break down all the things I do perhaps and work out where I can offload like a system?
Yeah. I've done bits of like outsourcing before. So, you know, I worked with a couple where I was super busy with lots of projects, but like I had to build multiple SOPs for a client. And the work is done from a development point of view. It's just transferring data from one source to another.
Yeah.
So outsourcing that to someone that understands it still, you know, is a chef. I do work always with chefs.
Yeah.
But they have done those sorts of things before, sort of seeing how my processes work. And it's just transferring, you know, a recipe into an SOP with a method, with a yield, with processes and stuff. But it's not that I don't think I can do it better, but like I want that control. I've always wanted that control.
Yeah.
I always want that final touch to be able to do things. And that's a downfall of mine, you know? But yeah, the way, the goal for me is to grow this consultancy.
Yeah.
But also the goal is to grow Mr. Beast Burger. The goal is to grow my other business.
Well, it's about like kind of trying to break down like what the asset strength is. Yeah. Like the asset strength for the consultancies is probably, like, if you really break it down, opportunities for JVs, right? Yeah. And cash flow. Yeah. Right? So, like, how do you optimize that cash flow and how do you open yourself up to basically provide yourself more equity opportunities through that? Yeah. That kind of becomes an interesting kind of dynamic because it's kind of like the ultimate dividend business. That because you got to think of your household as a business, right? So that's like really the ultimate thing you're trying to build is your household stability for your kids, your wife, and yourself. Yeah. And then how do you leverage this interesting thing to build equity, especially if you know it's got a life cycle? Yeah. Right. There's a lot of law firms and stuff, and and it's like, well, are you going to? You've got this boutique niche where you've got a long time horizon ahead of you where you're doing this this nuanced work where it's very hard to get a fully automated system to do. It's almost impossible. Yes. So you have this kind of D-Day in the future. Yeah. What is the strategy behind utilizing that asset? And then also you've got the Mr. Beast Burger. What's the strategy behind that? 'Cause it's a different game. It's a different race. Yeah. One might be a sprint, whereas one's a marathon. Yeah. I mean, I feel like they're all marathons at the moment. The problem. Well, it is always a marathon. I think that's a fair piece. So, you've moved here from the UK. Yeah. There's a lot of people right now that are looking at New Zealand as a geographical hedge, but also a potential fresh beginning. So it's quite interesting because you've also diversified your income streams by having different regions that you're servicing, which I think is like the holy grail of stability and self-sovereignty because you're actually earning in different currencies, which gives you that extra bit of safety. Yeah, yeah. And it's tricky to do so as well, like to be able to sort of spread yourself thin over the world. I've had clients in Malaysia, Singapore, Dubai, Australia, New Zealand, UK, Europe, like lots of places. And but for me, because of my background in the UK, that's where most of the work comes. But I think the moving over here was a sort of key decision in what we wanted to do. But for me, it wasn't something I thought I was going to continue doing my consulting while here. Right. The goal was move here, consult for a bit, tide over, get a real job, you know, in New Zealand, in the hospo space, in ops or something like that. And I never even looked, I never really needed to look because I was really lucky that I was just you maintain that. Like I signed a new client, sat in a hotel room in managed isolation when we moved over in COVID, and they were in the UK, and I worked for them for 4.5 years. Yeah. And they were a great client for me. Yeah. But I was able to deliver what they wanted from,
being 12, 13 hours ahead in a completely different market with different food. But for me, the way to moving here for me was more around lifestyle.
Yeah.
I spent a decade in London living in a 1-bed flat with my partner. Like, we lived, a stone's throw from Bank, like it was in Shoreditch, like it was great.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like forever, like it was, we wanted that difference. And now we live in a house with, a front and back garden and a garage. Like, it's not what I expected from 5 years ago, but like the quality of life here for me has been amazing. Like I'm lucky that my work-life balance is very controlled by me.
Yeah.
So, I'm not an up at 6 a.m, get to the office sort of thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes up at 6 a.m. because the kids are awake, but I'm a late night sort of person, right? Because I'm on calls in the UK. So my mornings are more free for myself, especially less so with having Mr. Beast here and compounding everything together. But that's when I get to sort of, go for a walk, like, do all the things around the house that need to be done. Like, I have this separate time that is normally people's evenings. And that's really like nice for me. Mondays are my best day because all my UK clients are Sunday night. So I have that one time to get ahead on the week if I want to, or have some time to, personally do something. I want to go to the driving range. I want to get my haircut. I want to do those sorts of things. Yeah. So for me, I've just been able to juggle my work-life balance much better here. Yeah. Whereas when I go back to the UK, it's
full noise.
It's 2-3 weeks sometimes.
But you like that?
I love that, but it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, and I'm calling my partner saying, like, I'm so tired. Like, she's like, you're out with clients every night. And I'm like, I'm knackered. Like,
it's an interesting duality. I remember when I used to travel a lot from when I was doing my gaming business and go to the US a lot, and the UK and Germany. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because you are just always on, and it is seemingly kind of cool. Yeah. But at the same time, it takes something from you. It's this weird thing.
And I think for me, it's nice because I get to go back and have that intensity. Yeah. I know it's not forever. And then I get to come back to the refreshing, the fresh air of New Zealand, like the fact that I can drive to the beach in 10 minutes. I live, right next to a forest. Like, not like I go in the forest very often, but you know what I mean? Like that difference of life. I live opposite a rugby club that plays cricket in the summer and rugby. I love it. Like, it's amazing. And for my kids as well. Yeah. Like that openness, like the daycares here are much more, in my eyes, better, like an open, like the education system. We're yet to sort of explore that, but like that's completely different and how that goes. Yeah. And, I think my parents are actually over at the moment. And they come over once a year. Yeah. They've tried to change at different times of the year. And they always notice just the quality of like food is very different. Yeah. Right. They keep saying it's cheaper. It's definitely not cheaper. But
it is.
Sometimes.
Just because of currency. Because they feel rich, right?
Exactly. Yeah, they feel rich, yeah. So
they don't understand that we don't earn much here if we're earning in New Zealand dollars. Yeah, like the incomes and like especially for like wage earners. Now, business owners is a little bit different, but obviously you're dealing with a kind of more compressed market and a more fragmented market. You don't have those big chains that you've actually worked with in the UK, like 5 or 6 restaurants, buzzing with like many millions of pounds in revenue and turnover. Yeah, you don't get. It's more decentralized here, so it's more SMEs.
Also, London in itself is a completely different world.
Yeah.
Like, for sure, someone making 50 grand in London is not a lot of money. Someone making 50 grand in Wales is a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's a whole different beast in itself. But I think for me here, like the quality of life is a big thing, but the opportunities are much less here. It's much harder to find work here. Yeah, and I don't know whether that's because of my background being UK based, but the restaurant industry, the hospitality industry here is getting bigger and bigger. Like it's diversifying more and more, but there's still not huge demand for. Like I thought there'd be more for me and what I do. Yeah. It's not that I've struggled. I have found clients and worked with some big ones and done some.
Do you think that networking is a bit of a challenge in that regard, or?
Yeah, I think so. It's also New Zealand's just a small market, right? Yeah. So if you're in, you're in. And I think that's the hard part. That's what I've been working on for 5 years. Yeah. And it's not, if someone turned around to me and offered me an amazing job in a big restaurant group in operations tomorrow, I'd really consider it because it would really cement me here.
Right. And it's kind of like you're kind of hedging at the moment. Well, that foot's still back in the UK, I guess.
Yeah, and I enjoy the consulting so much, and it gives me so much flexibility, so much, a huge range of clients, projects, cuisines, everything. But the being here, established here, I do want it to, and that's why I wanted to do Mr. Beast. I wanted to make a mark on the industry and do something.
Well, it's interesting. I think there's a lot of business opportunities here. I think career opportunities are not like they are in the UK. It's just you don't really have that depth of personnel. Right?
Yeah.
Because you get a lot of owner operators and then like leadership teams. And then you've got especially now since 2022, a very stripped out middle management layer in New Zealand. Like it's been very culled, right?
Yeah.
And obviously in your space, but more broadly, you've got very few large companies that are dealing with large things kind of like throughout,
and if they are the bigger companies that they're coming from, the US, they're coming from Australia. Yeah. You see the growth of the QSR space is massive.
Yeah.
But like the demand for it is still there.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of people that, and I found this massively with Mr. Beast Burger itself is considered a big QSR. It's not. Yeah. It's a virtual brand business. There's no bricks and mortar elements to it. We have our pop-up.
Yeah.
But there's not going to be 100 restaurants. And if there is going to be 100 locations, it's virtual. It's ghost kitchens. And getting people to understand that's what we're doing is...
and what's the challenge with the Mr. Beast Burger business then? What's the biggest constraint?
Growth.
Getting
people to... So the big focus of what we're doing now is that licensing model. Yeah. That's what we've really doubled down on. We've proved it works in a few different ways. The food truck does great, like the marketing that creates as well, like the buzz that builds. I literally drove it through the city yesterday and this morning. Before I got here, I had to drop the trailer off somewhere, and everyone stares. It's great. It's a big, loud, obnoxiously colourful trailer,
right?
But the challenge for us is sort of like that growth of where and who we grow with, like what businesses we work with.
Yeah,
bigger businesses have better operations and systems in place that we then can leverage and ensure the quality's there? Or do we go down the route of 50 independent late night kebab shops and fish and chip shops operating it? The quality isn't quite as well
maintained. And your model is all to actually just get into like seemingly unsuspecting businesses that want extra margin and revenue.
Yeah, the whole goal of Mr. Beast Burger from its inception was to add additional revenue to struggling businesses.
And that's amazing.
And that's still what we're trying to do. Yeah. If you've got a restaurant, whatever cuisine it is, that's you're struggling to pay rent or you're struggling to pay your labour bills every month, and you're just scraping through, this would just give you a little bit more to sort of turn you over to start making profit, because the investment's very low, the additional SKUs your business would be low. We'd utilise your existing equipment, labour, rent, everything. You don't have to pay more, is what I mean. Yeah. It's just more revenue coming through the door for a commission, obviously. But it gets you on all those delivery platforms and that awareness and education of how delivery works and marketing as well.
So it's a BDM approach where you have to go to their SME guys and get them on board, and then that opens you up to more suburbs. And then you can...
And that's what the food truck's allowed us to do, is to go, we were in Oratia at the Crafty Baker, and we were parked up next to their place on the grass next to there, and we left it there a few more days, and just people were calling us saying, like, when are you going to open? Like, what time are you going to start? We're not there. We just haven't moved our trailer yet.
Yeah.
And we did a great activation there. We've sort of done some stuff with the beer spot. So we're doing residencies with them. We're in Morningside, Kingsland Beer Spot next week for the week.
Right.
We do super well there. Like we do really good numbers there, and like the events that we've been able to go to, like the Ed Sheeran concert.
Yeah, right.
We had queues of 40, 50 people waiting for 20, 30 minutes for food. And it was awesome. It's quite great to see. And we're on the roster with all the stadiums and stuff. Yeah. So like, we've grown it really well, and like we're able to go anywhere with it. That's the best thing. Yeah. We went up to do a festival called Bites and Beats, which is like a travelling food thing up in Fontaine, and we sold out. Yeah. And there was just 2 of us that went out there. And it was a long drive with the trailer. We did it in one day, but people didn't get that up there. People didn't have it. They weren't travelling down to Auckland together. So we've been able to travel and spread the awareness through that. And that's been great fun. Yeah. But it's hard, the logistics.
For sure. Yeah.
I do a lot of that myself. But it's fun. I love it. It is good. It is good.
Yeah, awesome.
And it's great to just spread that brand and message and get people excited about it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the pod. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Cheers, dude.